Hello, I don't twist, and welcome back to Raw Recap and Review. This episode is from March 30th, 2026 at Madison Square Garden, New York City. And if you love WWE content like this and you enjoy the Raw Recap and Reviews, like the video and subscribe to the channel for more. Also, finishing up the CM Punk showcase on his channel, and after that, we'll be playing My Rise. Now let's get into the first segment of the show. Like always, Raw, starting with some talking, but we have someone talking that we don't really see on Raw that much, and it's Cody Rhodes, the WWE champion. He pops out, whoa, you know what I'm saying? He get in the ring, tells the crowd, asks the crowd, New York City, what y'all want to talk about? And then Stephanie McMahon's music pop plays, and she pops out, and I'm like, what's going on? But Cody was like, I'm surprised to see you here. And Steph was like, I don't know why you're surprised. Like, my granddad built Madison Square Garden. Without him, like, we wouldn't be here. And she says she's here to talk about that, talk about Cody, talk about Randy, talk about WrestleMania. And she tells Randy, and she's basically there to give Cody some advice, saying, like, you want to bring the good out of everybody, but Randy Orton is a different beast. He's a different guy. You can't bring the good out of him. Tells him to think like Randy and to be vigilant about how he operates around Randy. And then she goes on to say, she really finds out that, like, Cody is not like his dad. His dad Dusty could roll with the punches, unlike him. Cody to say that he knows everything about Randy, and that everybody wants to make it a student teacher dynamic, but that dynamic ended years ago when he had to babysit him, driving him from show to show when he was basically drugged out of his mind. Cody hits a little jab when Stephanie says, just like how I'm not like my dad, you're nothing like your dad either. I'm like, man, why are we mentioning Vince right now? Yeah, we talking about dads, but come on now, we can't mention Vince. At least Stephanie to slap him and then tell him that she was just out here to help him, and says that Randy is listening to the voices that he loved, and not just listen to the voices, he loves the voices. And then reiterates how Cody doesn't think like Randy, he's gonna lose the belt. And that leads to her walking away, and then Cody snatches the mic out of her hand, stares at her for a minute. He says, Steph, I got 2 words for you. And everybody goes, suck it. But he goes, thank you. And then he checks out, and the crowd is booing because he didn't say the obvious thing, which is suck it. Then we get backstage with a segment with Speed trying to talk to Adam Pearce, trying to figure out where Danhausen is because he got cursed last week, and throughout all of Speed's contests, his life has been getting destroyed. So he sees Danhausen's like, man, what do I do to end the curse? And he's like, man, you just got to give me a channel, give me 10 million, give me a whole bunch of other crazy stuff. He's like, bro, I can't give you this stuff, bro. But Adam Pearce is like, chill out, everything's going to be fine. I got you front row seats for this next match coming up, and LA Knight's going to be doing commentary for the match, and that leads up to the Usos versus The Vision for the tag team titles in a street fight. This match is happening because last week, Jey Uso went berserk, hit both of the Vision members with brass knuckles. When the Usos popped out, they also had a new entrance theme, which is cool. It's just them. It's just us, The match obviously is a tornado tag because it's a street fight. Match starts with both of them dual brawling, back and forth moments. That leads to a segment with Theory. Theory hits a shoulder tackle on Jim, Big Jim, which leads to Jimmy hitting an elbow onto Theory. Then double elbows onto Logan, and that leads to Jay doing the assisted Undertaker dive with his brother pulling down the rope. And that leads on to a commercial break. Sally, in America, we have commercial breaks, so they were going crazy with weapons before we got there. But we get back from the commercial break. When we get back from the commercial break, we have the Vision with kendo sticks, and they're hitting the Usos, and they're taking trash cans, whopping the Usos with those. But the Usos get the upper hand when both Theory and Logan try to run into them with trash cans, but they get reversed. So they smash into each other. That leads to them getting double super kicks from the Usos. Then that leads to Jay putting the can onto Logan, and then they hit him with a double super kick with the can on. Then now it's Big Jim's turn. He gets the can, puts it on Theory's head. And now they get kendo sticks just start wailing on Austin Theory. Logan on the outside trying to get some brass knuckles from his mom, who's in the front row, right next to Speed. But LA Knight is like, he gets involved, tries to fight the knucks off of him. That leads to Logan ended up pulling Speed down with him to the outside. LA knocks down Logan, and then Speed gets up the brass knuckles that Logan drops. That leads to LA Knight walking from behind to Speed. But Speed, scared, punches him on accident. He's like, no, oh my gosh, no. And that leads to him accidentally leaving the brass knuckles on the apron. Now, back in the ring, though, while that's happening, the Usos do a dual superplex on the Austin Theory on a table in the ring. Crazy spot. Shout out to Theory for taking that bump. After that happened, Logan now has the brass knuckles. He tries to punch the Usos, but he misses, and they both hit him with dual super kicks. And that leads to him, Jay hitting the spear on the Theory. And while Jay hit the spear on Theory, he went to the top row to try to do a splash. Big Jim tries to do a suicide dive on the Logan on the outside to make sure he doesn't get involved. But bow! Big punch by Logan. That leaves him. He knocks out Jimmy in the ring. Jay on the top rope sees that, goes for a crossbody dive on the Logan on the outside. Theory puts his arm over Jimmy Uso. 1, 2, 3. The Vision are your new tag team champions because of I Show Speed. Hilarious. And then that even leads them in the entranceway. Speed is still like kerfuffled about everything, but they lift his arms up in victory. He's like, man, like on the way, like Speed's like, I didn't mean to do this. He's like, no, that's fine. You got ops now, though. We're gonna have to protect you. You got ops now. So overall, I give that match a 4-star street fight. Very fun. I didn't get to see the good bulk of the weapons, but because of commercial break, but that's crazy. I wonder what they're gonna do at WrestleMania. Probably see them doing a 6-man tag, including Speed at WrestleMania, which would be insane. After that match, we get a promo from the number 1 contender at WrestleMania, Liv Morgan. She pops out, tells New York that they're in the presence of the greatest Royal Rumble winner of all time. And then she says, that's the last time I'm being cute for the rest of the night because Stephanie Vaquer, you're done for, bitch. And I'm like, ooh. Because she attacked her family last week and she attacked Dirty Dom. She said that was the biggest straw right there. And she says she always talks about how Liv fights behind her family, but you decided to fight her behind her back. And then that goes on to say, oh, because you says you want to hit me behind the back, and you scared to run to 101, you scared for a confrontation 101. And she said after that it's on sight, and that her mother always told her to never let anyone level up on you, and your mother is trash. She basically said that in Spanish. I heard Basuda. I don't remember the rest. But that led to Stephanie popping out. Looking bad as ever. I ain't gonna lie. They was both bad. I'm sorry. That led Stephanie popping out with all the anger. She rolled down to the ring. Instant brawl between the women. multiple punches back and forth. But Stephanie gets the upper hand with a big super kick. That leads to Stephanie to the outside trying to get a steel chair. And then as soon as she about to whop Liv Morgan, Roxanne Perez is back from injury, gets into the ring, knocks down Stephanie, does her little tantrum attack on her. Both start jumping Stephanie. Then Liv sets up the chair and hits Oblivion on the Stephanie on the chair. And then the Judgment Day stand hand in hand, or a farm over Stephanie. I can't wait for this match at WrestleMania. Then we get a segment backstage with the Vision, and Speed is like, congrats to y'all, man, but I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to do that at all. I didn't mean to do that. I didn't want that to happen. But Logan says it don't matter now. You got ops now. The Usos, LA Knight, they want to kill you, man. So you gonna have to stay with us. We gonna protect you, make sure you're alright. And Speed's like, nah, man, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do that. And Paul Heyman paused. He said, just chill. Guys, protect him for the rest of the time. Take Speed out to dinner and everything. We're gonna get this handled. And then Adam Pearce pops up out of nowhere and says, check your email? And Paul's like, no, I didn't check my email. If you had something to tell me, you could have sent the memo to me. And so he just disregards Adam Pearce away. Then we get into our second match of the night, which is another tag team title match. We have Lyra Valkyria and Bayley. I call them the Bird Huggers because they don't have a real name, against the Irresistible Forces, Nia Jax and Lash Legend, who are the champions. To start the match off, we have Bayley and Lash starting the match. It starts with Lash trying to let her a little pump kick on the Bayley, but it gets missed, and Bayley ends up hitting her with a shoulder tackle, but that barely budges her, so Lash hits her back with a shoulder tackle, which knocks her down. She ends up tagging Nia Jackson. Nia Jax gets into the ring, big clothesline onto Bayley, and then tries to hit a slam on the Bailey, but they got reversed by Bailey. She gets out of dodge, tags in Lyra. Lyra goes onto standing missile drop kick onto Nia, then get on the middle rope for another missile drop kick. Then they go into a tie up with Nia. Nia pushes her all the way down to her corner. Big tag, getting into the ring. At first, she tries to throw Lyra to the other corner, but Lyra stops it, but she fixes it out again, grabs her, puts her down to the other corner, tries to go for the splash, then goes for another splash this time, but it misses. At least the Lyra tagging in into Bailey, and they both get on the middle rope and hit Lash Legend with the dual missile drop kick. For the Bailey goes for the pin. You get a kick out from Lash though. That leads to another tag. Leads to another tag by Bailey onto Lyra, but they try to Irish whip Lash, but Lash ends up clotheslining Bailey and then hitting the elbow onto Lyra. At least the Lash going over to her corner, tagging in Nia, but Nia gets stopped by Lyra hitting the good punching attack combo onto her, and then hitting her with a drop kick, which places her going outside the ring. That leads to her tagging in Bailey. Bailey now tries to go for the suicide dive to Nia, which she lands, and then tries to go for it again, but this time Lash Legend tries to get involved, which leads to Bailey pulling the rope, which makes Lash go outside that end. That leads to Bailey hitting another suicide dive into Nia, and Lyra hitting the middle rope drop kick to Lash. And that leads on to a commercial break. We get back from the commercial break with the Irresistible Forces having the upper hand, which leads to Lyra trying to get the high tag. She's crawling, but that gets stopped by Nia Jax because Nia Jax ends up punching Bailey off the apron, so Lyra can't tag in. Then Nia picks up Lyra, hits her with the Samoan drop, goes for the pin. Kick out of it, though, by Lyra. She's still in the match. She's trying to go for the high tag again, but they get stopped by Lash Legend this time, who was tagged in. And she ends up grabbing Lyra's leg, but Lyra fights out of it by hitting her with an enziguri. But Lash grabs her leg again, picks up Lyra, tries to hit her with a standing suplex, but Lyra flips it into a DDT. You know what time that means. Hot tag! Bailey gets on the middle rope, big elbow down to Lash Legend, goes for the pin. 1, 2, kick out from Lash though. Now Lash gets the upper hand, hits her with a big pump kick on the Bailey, tags in Nia. And then Nia gets into the ring, hits her with a leg drop, goes for the pin. 1, 2. Bailey's still in the match. She's still good. That leads to Nia then pulling over Bailey to try to hit the bonsai drop. But that gets stopped by Bailey, who lifts up Nia. Big power bomb down on the ground. Tags in Lyra. Lyra goes to the middle rope, does a moonsault into Nia. 1, 2. Lash Legend ain't having that. She stops the pin. Lash then on to the punch on Bailey, which leads Lyra to do a spinning heel kick onto Lash, which leads to Lash then hitting elbow onto Lyra. That leads to double down. All the women are down on the ground. That leads to the Bella twins, Nikki and Brie popping out, and Charlotte and Alexa Bliss. They get into a little argument on the stage, and Lyra walks out to the ring and says, "No, guys, get away. Don't get involved." But that leads to Nia Jax grabbing Lyra and throwing her into Charlotte and Alexa Bliss. And then they start arguing with the Bellas, and that leads to from Lash Legend from behind, elbowing the shit out of Brie Bella. I'm like, damn, she just came back. Leads to then Bailey on the trying to get involved, tries to jump on the Lash, but Lash catches her, slams her down into the apron. Then Nia ends up slamming Lyra around, but the match gets ended by Charlexa getting to the ring, attacking Nia Jax. The match ended in a DQ, and then all the women are now fighting involved, and they end up getting the upper hand on Lash and Nia. They knock them outside the ring, and now the women are in the ring now, and they're arguing with each other. Overall, I give that match an overall 3.5. I feel like they were getting to a good finish, but obviously they want these women to fight at WrestleMania, which they will do at WrestleMania because it's announced later in the show that there's going to be a fatal 4-way for the tag team titles. This match is going to be interesting. There's no stipulation underneath it, so don't expect anything too extreme with them. But overall, good segment. And then we get a vignette with Finn Balor mentioning how the Judgment Day to him was always a family, and that he made a lot of bad decisions being in that group, but one of the biggest ones was trying to make a man out of Dom Mysterio. For Dom, when he attacked Rey Mysterio, tried to do everything for him, but now he realized he made an entitled asshole. Since he made the entitled asshole, now he's gonna stop the entitled asshole at WrestleMania, which gets announced later in the night that Dominic Mysterio will be fighting against Finn Balor at WrestleMania. I don't know if it's going to be the belt or not, but they're going to be fighting. So good to see Finn and Dom make the card. That is going to be the end of part 1. Yes, part 1 I do these Raw recap and reviews, and part 1s and part 2s if you're new to the channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel so you can get more WWE content and also WWE 2K26 content on the channel as well. I'm Twist, and watch part 2!